Hello and welcome to Movie Scouts 007's Keyboard Road Warrior series, where we play Euro Truck Simulator 2 on a low-end laptop and its keyboard. At the end of the last video we leveled up to 21, which means that we have a skill point to apply and we have some upgrades to look at. So let's go ahead and apply that skill point. So, just-in-time delivery, in order to even up our skill tree. That's the one we're picking, and at level 3 that gives us 9% higher reward. 9% reward for finishing an important delivery and a 15% higher reward for finishing an urgent delivery. So that's what we're going to do. So that's that applied. You can see our rating has gone up now to 7.5. Still have no clue what that means, and SCS have not answered anyone's questions regarding that. There are some things that SCS do that just don't make any sense, and not answering questions about something as fundamental as the rating is one of them. Right, let's check out the... Oh wow, is that it? That is all we get. That is... Oh no, it's going to get two. Okay, that's... Fair enough. Okay, a light bar. It might be useful actually. It will allow us to put more lights on, because you can never have too many lights. Sorry. You can have too few. All right, we've got £99,000, so we're only 45,000 away from our next garage. So let's just quickly check our garage, and you can see that we have 10 drivers, so we're fully loaded with Ludovic. We're fully loaded, and he's now up to £337. So that is good. Right, okay, so next let's find the discoverables in Stuttgart. Actually, the best way of finding the discoverables is to check the map and see where everything is. So we're in Hanover, and we are outside the town. So if we take a left, and then a right, and then a left, we should be able to find all the discoverables and then go and fix our truck. Okay. So, pulling a right. Oh, parking brake's still on. So yesterday we talked about. The last video. In the last video we talked about ProMods and upgrades to. Oh, you're kidding me. 3%, probably going to be about £2,000 worth of damage. Given our current skill, oh, you're kidding me. And we can't really jump the queue because of oncoming traffic. Okay, that sucks. Given my luck with accidents and my hastiness, which I'm currently fighting, you can see why the parking brake is necessary. I've got my hands off the wheel, and you can see that the truck's crawling forward. I'm not doing anything, so if we stick the parking brake on, that should arrest our creep. That's a loan instalment. That is loan instalment 64, I think. So we've got 6 loan instalments left. So I would imagine that we will do 2 or 3 more journeys, and then we'll be done with losing £8,000 a journey. £4,000 in every 24 hours. Okay. And we're creep forward. Alright. I am sick of waiting. And that worked, surprisingly. I was convinced that someone was going to shoot up the other direction quite legally and stymie our attempts to escape that red light. So I'm just hesitant because I'm checking out the map to see where everything is, because obviously I want to pick up the dealership and the recruitment agency before we go and do our repairs and get our rest and recuperation. And obviously all of this just adds to the amount of the road network that we've discovered. Now, in case you're wondering, I had a quick look before I started this video to see how much of the road network we discovered, and the answer is just under 38%. We've discovered just under 38% of the road network. Okay, that was clever. But it's all good because the car next to us went, so that told us when the light changed. So this is an agency, and this is a Scania dealership, if I'm not mistaken, which was where we repaired. Too fast, and then we'll go around the corner. So we've got our two discoverables for Hanover. So let's see how much damage we've done to our truck. I reckon it's about $2,000. Oh, not far off, 1,816. That's less than I thought. I thought it would be like 2,200 or something. So let's go get some rest. And in a stunning turn of events in Europe, it's raining. And it's still raining. But not anymore. Alright, let's search for some work. So, job market, or as they say in New Zealand, market. The job market. And we've got Debrecen, which I believe... Have we been to Debrecen? No, we haven't been to Debrecen. So Debrecen is in Hungary. It's not the capital of Hungary, it's Budapest. But if we make enough money, we might be able to take a very short journey to Budapest and get that as our next because I want capital cities to be the first place, aside from Liverpool, which was the home base. I want capital cities to be our garages. So we've got Bergen. That's not back to Liverpool. 15 grand just to go all the way? Nah, I don't think so. See, we could take a short journey when we get to Debrecen, if there is a short journey to Budapest. Anyway, so we're going to pick Debrecen. Debrecen is the furthest. No, actually, it's not the furthest east we can go. The furthest east we can go is Bialystok. But it's the furthest southeast. It's not the furthest south, but it's the furthest southeast. So we're going to take Debrecen. Let's get our screenshot, as is my want. And then we will blow this popsicle stand and head. Let's get it in the center. And boom. Okay. So, engine up. Let's center up our view. And let's go get our load. So we need to take a left here. it's... What the heck? I didn't hit anything. There was nothing to hit. That's bogus. That's total BS. Okay, good. Oh, what the heck am I doing? I'm going to the wrong entrance on the wrong side of the road like a tool. This is where my load is, so let's take our load. Boom, that's the one. There it is, the radar. Okay, that's load all hooked up. And we are ready to go. Oh, are you kidding me? No. Just repaired and already I've damaged it. I'm destined to not be able to complete a single one of these journeys without crashing into something. Which is mildly irritating, actually it's infuriating, if I'm honest. I don't have a subject to talk about today, so I'm just going to have to wing it. I think I will talk about something that fans of football and to the one country in the world that doesn't refer to football as football. When I say football, just know that from this point on I'm referring to what you guys call soccer. In Europe we are inflicted with a thing called the January transfer window. For some reason FIFA took it upon itself to impose a transfer window. There are two of them. For 31 days in January and from the post-season, so I think that is the beginning of June, until the end of September, I think. Those are the two transfer windows. Those are the 2 points. They're the two times in which a team can purchase a player, or can contract a player to play for them. I don't like the words purchase a player because it implies slavery, and it's not slavery. The guy is contracted to play for a football team. Liverpool have a bit of a patchy history when it comes to the January transfer window. Sometimes we pull off some fantastic business, and sometimes, and actually if I'm honest, for the most time we have a pretty spotty and we have a pretty poor record at it. There have been a couple of exceptions. 2 years ago we purchased the contract for Luis Suarez. Last year we purchased the contract for Daniel Sturridge. This year Liverpool didn't manage to pick up a single player, not one player. We let a bunch go on loan and for sale, but they were kind of make-weights. But I remember 3 years ago we spent a considerable amount of money on an otherwise pointless player. No, he's not that the guy is not good, he's just not good for the style of football that Liverpool play. And if you're a Liverpool fan, you'll know that I'm talking about Andy Carroll. I'm sure Andy Carroll's a lovely bloke, but I'm afraid half a season of Championship football and half a season of Premier League football do not warrant £35 million for a player whose style of play essentially is standing in the middle of the box and heading goals from crosses. This is not how Liverpool play football. Liverpool's style of football is pass and move. Short passes, short incisive breaks into the cracks of the opposition defence. This is how Liverpool play football. It's all about accurate short passing and movement. Passing the ball and then moving into a position to accept a return of the ball. Triangles, the sort of causing the opposition to chase between a triangular series of players, which causes them to waste time and energy, which exhausts them. You're moving the ball, they're moving themselves. We also play counter-attacking football. Counter-attacking football doesn't lend itself to long ball football, and it doesn't lend itself. It does probably lend itself to counter-attacking football, but it doesn't lend itself to counter-attacking football if you've only got one player that can head the ball and one player that can kick it those distances. Steven Gerrard cannot play every game, and Andy Carroll couldn't play every game. He was injured repeatedly in the year and a half that he played for us. I wasn't sad to see him go. I was just sad that he went so cheap. He went on loan to West Ham, and then he went for a fraction of what we paid for him in the summer that's just gone, in summer 2013. It always seems to me that the January transfer window acts as a kind of inflationary mechanism for teams that have mediocre, or good players that they just can't fit into their system. So what they do is they start to play them in December to raise interest. If the manager's really clever and he wants a lot of money for that player, they make sure that the rest of the team are playing to that player's style. They'll have some brief but unsustainable success. They'll present a player who's up and coming, then they'll sell him. What happens is that you get two reactions. Sometimes simultaneously, sometimes you only get one of them. The two reactions are the team selling the player can't understand why suddenly the player is playing well, and that's the moment at which the player's sold. And the buying team, under the under the misapprehension that they've bought a quality player and they've got the bargain of the century. What happens then is the player is no longer playing in a club where the team have been told to play specifically to his style. So he suddenly plays like a fish out of water. The fans of the selling club are like, oh, okay. But he would have been, what a waste. He was playing brilliantly for us. And then the manager pockets the money, and the buying team are left with a player that's not quite the player they thought they were buying. It happened to us with Andy Carroll. I actually don't think it happened to us with Andy Carroll. I think everybody but Kenny Dalglish and Ian Ayre knew that Andy Carroll was totally unsuitable for Liverpool's style of play. What they were indulging in was an admirable but fruitless attempt to stock the Liverpool squad with young English players, which I utterly applaud, provided the English players that you're purchasing fit the style of play that you have at your disposal with the bulk of the players that you have. Now, it's perfectly possible to change a team's style of play, but it's not the sort of thing you can do in one season. It's the sort of thing that takes 2, 3, maybe 4 years, depending on the skill level and quality of the players at your disposal. The higher the skill level, the easier it is for a player to adapt to a new style of play. I'd say Liverpool were good. I wouldn't say that we were loaded with world-class players, because we're not. We've probably got 2 or 3 at best. Steven Gerrard, Luis Suarez, possibly Daniel Sturridge in the next year or two. He's certainly scoring a significant number of goals for Liverpool, which is beyond encouraging and beyond gratifying, given that we bought Sturridge from Chelsea, who didn't want him because they didn't think he was any good. We've also got Simon Mignolet, who I think is potentially a world-class player, but the trouble for poor old Simon Mignolet is he's Belgian and he's playing for Belgium. And Belgium are one of those clubs, one of those international sides that are a bit hit and miss when it comes to qualifying for major tournaments. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And he can't really influence that result beyond making sure that they have clean sheets. He can't score goals for them. He's not a striker or an attacking midfielder. He's not a player that can get up the other end of the pitch with any kind of regularity, so he's not in a position to influence those games. We want our squad players to be playing as much international football as possible to make up for the fact that at the moment we're not playing European football, because Liverpool have had a couple of dire years. The last season of Kenny Dalglish, his reign was pretty dire, and the first season poor old Brendan Rodgers was trying to impose a regime. Come on, out of the way, that's it. He was trying to impose his regime, and he wasn't having much luck. And he did have a squad of mostly make-weights. Now, he thought that a young player called John Joe Shelvey might be the future, the ticket. It turns out John Joe Shelvey's just a little bit too unruly, thinks he knows better than the manager, and as a result he played less and less over the course of the season. His fitness levels weren't up to snuff. He liked to party, and he couldn't work out the squad rotation that had to take place for a club that was playing in Europe, because we started the season playing in the Europa League, which is the junior version of the Champions League. It used to be called the UEFA Cup. It was always been the junior. You had the European Cup and the UEFA Cup. You also had the Cup Winners' Cup, which was for the winners of the domestic cup competition. The Cup Winners' Cup went. It no longer exists. What they did was they added a slot for Cup winners to the Euro. Oh, damn it! Okay. Well, that's bloody annoying. How much damage do we do? Yeah, we did 5. Oh, for crying out loud. Am I going to get through one of these effing journeys without crashing into someone? Oh, we've still got a huge amount of journey to go with a truck that's stuffed. Okay, I think we're going to have to go to Dresden. I don't want to go to Leipzig, it's too far out of our way. Okay, no, we'll try and make to Prague. That's the least disturbance to our journey. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. That's an awful lot of damage for a moving. Well, I'm pissed off. I mean, it's my own fault. I misjudged that overtaking manoeuvre. But it stopped me from being pissed off. Anyway, well, the one thing about all these crashes is, I'm not feathering this game to make myself look good. I am no better or shitter at this game than I appear. Okay. I've forgotten what the hell I was talking about. European football and Liverpool. We're not playing in Europe this year because we finished 7th, I think, or 8th. I forget now. It's the third time in 5 years that we've finished at the bottom end of the top 10 of the league. I mean, we haven't finished. I can't remember the last time that Liverpool finished in outside the top half of the table. We're too good for that. But we've had a few dire years. I have to be honest, I think mostly thanks to the colossal mismanagement by two owners who fell out with each other, Hicks and Gillette, two moronic Yanks, and that's not to paint all Yanks with the same brush, but these two prize clowns were 24-carat ocean-going, platinum-coated morons. In that they thought they were going to get away with what they tried to get away with at Liverpool. What they were trying to get away with was buying a club when it was at a low ebb, when it needed massive cash injection, it needed a new stadium, and it needed an injection of new players and new blood and new money. They performed what is technically termed as a leveraged buyout. They borrowed money against the club to buy the club. So essentially it's like me coming up to you and saying, I want to buy your house, but I'm going to get the house in your name. I'm going to borrow the money in your name, and so if it all goes tits up, you lose, not me. It frankly should... Okay, that was annoying. Okay, God, I'm stuck. And this is all doing damage to my truck as well. What happened is the guy overtaking was in the lane in front of our in front of the car transporter in front of us, and the car transporter arrived and he came to a sudden halt. Now you remember, I was performing an overtaking manoeuvre. So I was driving down the wrong way down a dual carriageway in a previous video, and the guy I was just sat there, and the chap drove into me. Now he drove into me because it was me performing it was me driving the wrong. If it had been me driving in the other direction, obviously I would have attempted to brake, and I probably would have succeeded because the draw distance is such that I can probably just about make out cars coming in the other direction, and I could probably stop just in time. But that really wasn't fun, and yeah, as I suspected, that's upped my trailer damage from 25 to 26% because you're going over uneven ground, and so the trailer's bouncing. So I'm going to get a satisfactory out of this because because of one stupid overtaking manoeuvre. Because of two stupid overtaking maneuvers, one by me, the other by an AI car. For some reason I thought it was another thing, it wasn't, so. I have 5 hours left before I have to sleep, and I have 14 hours. So that should duck me under 9 hours. That's fine. That gives me plenty of time to get to my destination. It also gives me some leeway to get my truck repaired in Prague, or Praha. So this leveraged buyout was a thing that occurred before it occurred to us. It occurred to Man United, and unfortunately Manchester United is still stuck with the Glazer family, who performed the leveraged buyout of Manchester United. So Manchester United are still in the position that Liverpool were in when Gillett and Hicks owned the club. The Glazer family still own Manchester United, and Manchester United were getting away with it because Alex Ferguson had enough of a reputation built over a few years of winning trophies. In 1999 he won the European Cup. He'd won a lot of domestic trophies because the Premier League is watched all over the world, particularly by footballers, by professional footballers. People were aware of who Alex Ferguson was. It enabled him to acquire fantastic players, which enabled him to develop the club and the reputation of the club and his own personal reputation, which meant that he could attract the kind of players that another manager in the same club might not necessarily be able to manage. He retired at the end of the 2012-2013 season. He handpicked David Moyes, fellow Scotsman, to take his place as the manager of Manchester United. David Moyes failed to attract anyone but Malouane Fellaini in the summer, and he managed to attract a Chelsea reject, well, not a Chelsea reject, but a player that Chelsea had felt to be surplus requirements, to Jan Mata. I don't know that Jan Mata will be a particularly excellent acquisition. Time will tell, but the fact is that David Moyes' reputation was garnered at Everton, where he didn't win a single trophy. Not one trophy, not a League Cup, not an FA Cup, not the Champions League, which they qualified for once, or was it twice under his tenure, and never got out of the group stages. Yeah, it was once, and they failed to qualify for the group stages. They also, they qualified for it twice actually, but it was once. It was once. The year they qualified for it was 2005, which was the year that Liverpool ended up winning. They qualified it at the end of 2005. At the same time, we won the European Cup. We hadn't finished in the top four at the end of that season, and weren't eligible under the current rules to defend our the title. So UEFA allowed Liverpool to attempt to go through the complete pre-qualifying process, which means that Liverpool had to play 4 games before they got to the groups. 4 teams before they got to the group stages. That's 8 games of football, which they started at the beginning of August. Understandably, we didn't win it that year. We played 8 games we didn't need to play, which interrupted the pre-season preparations that they'd planned, which means they had to cancel some planned games. It meant that we didn't play nearly as well as we could have in 2006, and we didn't make it to the final in 2006. We did in 2007. 2007 we made it all the way to the final, this time in Greece, and played against the same team, AC Milan, that we'd played in the Ataturk Stadium in Istanbul in Turkey 2 years previously. But that didn't help us to win. I think that headlight thing is actually working, I think, I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, it is, The headlights are clearer. I've got a mod which makes the AI lights a little bit brighter so that you can see them at a greater distance, which I was a bit concerned about applying because I didn't want to slow the game down. But it seems to have done the trick. It seems to have to a certain extent, done the trick. Let's quickly look at the map and see how far away we are from... Actually, we're right on top of Prague. Well, we're going to get the truck repaired, so we might as well repair and rest in Prague. That's fine. That's fine. So we're not going to pull into here. I am. Yeah, thank you. This is going to be a massive repair bill. We've currently got £111,000. I reckon that all of that is going to go on this. All of the not 111. I reckon 11 to £14,000 is going to go on this repair bill, which is infuriating, but it does mean that we won't have to put up too often with this truck conking out repeatedly during our journey. So we're approaching Prague, so we're going to have to be careful that the GPS doesn't route us around Prague, because we don't want that. So let's go in a little bit closer, find out what we've got to do. Actually, do you know what? The route takes us right past where we need to go. We're not going to get that discoverable, because it still feels like cheating. But we are accidentally going to get one of the discoverables, because we just have to go through the city to do it. So I think, because we're turning left, we might as well be in the left lane for this roundabout. And we would have discovered Prague anyway, because the route planner's taking us through Prague. So that is not cheating, ladies and gentlemen. That's not breaking my own rule. The game is taking us through Prague. Right, what side of the road is my repair going to be on? Yeah, I know. I think it's on the left. Once I go around this corner, I need to get myself on the left. So I go straight through this and then right at these traffic lights. No, not right at these traffic lights, sorry, straight on. And then straight across the roundabout. Okay. And just in case, I'm going to stick myself behind this blue car. Oh, it's alright, easy, went that way anyway. So, it's on the left hand side, that's fine. And actually it's in a nice big garage, so I'm not too concerned about taking my load in, so I'm not going to unhook the load. Let's get the right angle on it. Alright, are you ready for this? After 3, 1, 2, 3. 13,000. Oh, yeah, okay. It's slightly more than I thought it was going to be, but, you know. I knew it was going to be a large bill. Alright, let's get some rest. Engine off. Let's get some rest. Okay, we're rested, we're repaired, and we're back on the road with our load. Okay, let's take a wide berth. And we got some traffic. Oop, what? Okay, that's lovely of that guy to let us out. So we're in Prague, which is the Czech Republic. We're on our way to Hungary. So we're 12 hours away, which is quite a chunk of journey. Sorry, yeah, 12 hours. Okay, that was foolish to take that rest. That was silly. Oh, parking brake. We are just going to make it in, and we're going to get a fine of £80. Is it 80 or is it £120? I forget now what the fine is for not resting. But you look at our income, we've got £122,000, so our drivers have done us proud. And given that we've repaired, the only expense we should have now will be the sleep fines, and we're getting 36,000 from our load. Well, probably 34, 35, given that we're going to get we're going to pay a penalty for damaging the load. We should have enough for our next garage. Now, the plan is to take an incredibly short journey to Budapest, should that be on offer. But what we can do is we can take we can just free drive from Debrecen to Budapest without worrying about a load. It's not my preferred option. If we did take a short load from Debrecen to Budapest, we would take an equal short load in the same video. Because we should be taking big loads. That should be Alright, I think not that one, possibly the next one, or sorry, not that petrol station, but maybe the next petrol station or the petrol station after that. We will pause and put some fuel in. As I said, we've got about 11 hours, but you know how this game works. The further in you go, the more time you make up. Because obviously we're belting along, we're hooning it. So we'll probably hoon it faster than the GPS is expecting us to hoon it. So we might gain an hour, which would give us time to get that load in and then get some rest and recoup at the beginning of the next video before we start faffing around looking for journeys. So that's our plan. Anyway, so the transfer window is one of the many rules and regulations that FIFA and UEFA have brought in to kind of control spending. It doesn't. It causes a lot of panic buying, and it's extraordinarily counterproductive, and it leaves teams in a very vulnerable position. If they haven't been able to acquire the player they want and then they suddenly get an injury. Now, there is a process. You can do what's called an emergency loan, where you get permission from FIFA or UEFA to loan a player from another side to cover the gap that you have in your playing staff. And in fairness, the governing body usually relents and allows the loan to take place, but it's a loan in lieu of a purchase, so it's a purchase that's going to happen, unless the team gets relegated, in which case I think usually these loans occur with a backroom understanding that the player will be bought. So what happens is the player that loans starts looking for players in the summer transfer window that they can purchase based on a backroom handshake that has occurred And so what can quite often happen is at the very beginning of so before the end of the season, negotiations start to take place between teams and players, between two teams and a player, for a transfer. Now, if a team has been given a backroom handshake that a player loaned will be purchased at the end of the season, they're assuming that money is going to be available to them to spend. So they will probably have that money in their head when they're organising their summer transfers. What can sometimes, very occasionally, but not often happen is that if a team gets relegated, they don't want that expensive wage bill on their books in a lower division. And so what happens is the team that holds the registration with FIFA for the contract have negotiated with another team for the purchase of a player based on the money that they were going to earn, and then they suddenly don't have that money. It could put them in a very awkward position. They can't admit that there was a deal in place, because if they do, they know they're breaking then a negotiation of that description shouldn't take place. But it's not a rule. You can negotiate for the purchase of a player. You just can't have him. You can't swap his registration until the transfer window opens. The trouble is, with the January transfer window, with the summer one, it's fine. The players have got time to bed in before you start the serious business of the league. With the January transfer window, the player has got to come in and start playing immediately on top form. That's fine if he's been playing first team football for the other team, but if he's been playing first team football, why is he not good enough to keep? And if he hasn't been playing first team football, then you've got real problems getting him match fit in time for his first game, which, given that the transfer window goes right up until midnight on the 31st of January, that player can often find himself moving from one city to another with a couple of hours' notice. I don't know about you, but when I moved from one side of town, I normally need a couple of weeks' notice. So moving from one city to the other to sort of sign documents Friday night and play football Saturday lunchtime, Saturday afternoon, I can't imagine how difficult that must be. But given that the footballer has half a day's work 4 days a week, and then a full day, and then half a day's work on the weekend, they do have plenty of free time to organise this stuff. So yeah, I knew that was going to happen. So whatever it was that was preventing my fines for burning through red lights is not preventing me from getting fines for burning through red lights anymore. That is working fine now. So my truck is nicely fixed, and I would be surprised if I spent more than £100 repairing wear and tear at the end of this video. So we've probably got another 15 minutes of real time. We've got another 8.5 hours of in-game time, and depends on what the roads are like. Let's get some fuel. We might as well. So, £1.11. Not quite the cheapest. The cheapest fuel in the game is in Poland, I believe. It's 90 pence a litre. So £976, 876.07 litres, and we're off. running, so let's get ourselves parallel. And let's beat the moronic car out of the garage, because who waits so long to leave a junction? No person I know. And so we are on the road. And can we? No, we can't overtake because I can see oncoming cars immediately. But we can now. Can we keep going? No. No. We could have actually. We could have got past. And I don't like that because I can't see the other side of the corner. This is a massive risk. Will it pay off? Oh shite! We've got to let that one go. And this moron is not going to let us out. Right, what damage did we do? You're kidding me. You're kidding me. The only damage here is time. We are losing a lot of time. Thankfully that Scania behind us... Is that a Scania or is it a man? Actually it might be a man. Whatever it is, that vehicle behind us. I can't believe we got away with that. So if we're only 23,000 away. I would prefer it if we had 149, so that we've got enough. See, there's another overtaking problem. It's not just me. I would prefer it if we had 149,000, because that allows for a loan instalment payment, and it prevents us from going overdrawn, which you've seen us do when we first got that loan. I think 3 or 4 payments in, we bought a lorry and we recruited a driver, and we paid the price in that we got a nasty email from the bank. The email system seems to only work with banks, and the dealership, when you first start the game, you get an email from a dealer saying, how about buying a truck from us? And you get messages from the bank related to your loan, but you don't get an email, curiously enough, saying that you've completed your loan and that you're free. That just happens and you're done. So so I would lobby for a transfer window, removal of the transfer window, or an alteration to the transfer window rules, because I don't think it makes sense. It doesn't achieve what they were hoping it would, which is saving clubs money. Because I think what they were thinking was it would stop teams just periodically every month spending millions on a new player. Don't really think that was a problem. It certainly wasn't a problem in the UK. They weren't sort of buying a player every month. I think what it does is it causes panic buying. It allows teams that have got a desired commodity to kind of leverage the team, because there's a limited window of opportunity to buy the player, and so they can just hum and ha and hesitate and get exactly what they want, which is a ridiculous amount of money for a player. It's probably not worth quite as much. Another sad side effect of the another sad effect of the Bosman ruling. Now, if you're not familiar with the Bosman ruling, Jean-Marc Bosman was a Belgian footballer whose registration was owned by a club, and they were refusing to allow him to go somewhere else and play football, which is atrocious, might I add. It is atrocious. So he went to the court and got himself freed from his contract, so that he can go and join the other team. And this changed the laws in football. It's changed the rules in football. So what happened is you got the when a player plays out his contract and refuses to sign another contract, he can then leave on what's called a Bosman, which means that he then negotiates with the football team through his agent, and he earns a huge upfront fee that he wouldn't get, because that would normally go to the club. So what you'll find is quite often clubs are signing players that they have no intention of keeping, just so that they're not going to lose money on him leaving. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a player's allowed to leave on a Bosman because there are no offers for him. Sometimes he's allowed to leave because he's in desperate financial straits. The club aren't going to earn much money from him anyway, and it allows him to earn a little bit of extra money to cover his financial woes on the front end. But either way, I'm going to quickly check, see, 6 hours and 19. I am just going to just make it to my destination before I have to fall asleep. Which means I'm 6 hours, so I'm not really making much time up, which is possibly my fault because of that stupid overtaking maneuver. I probably lost a huge chunk of time to that aborted slipstreaming. I lost a bunch of time to the crash. I parked too early, probably parked about 3 hours too early. 2 hours too early, sorry. So these are all the strategic logistical things you've got to think about when you're driving, where you're going to park and so forth. So I think I've only, this is journey number 45, I think in the 45 journeys I've only been fined for not taking an appropriate rest break twice. One was a doozy. I think I got about 4 or 5 parking fine, failure to rest things in one go, because you get them every 5 minutes. And I had missed my opportunity, and I had to take a massive detour to get a rest break, and in that time I got 2 or 3 fines. So, but I count that as one, because it was one instance. It was one instance of failure to rest, and they really hammer at you. It's a small fine, but unless you're quite close to a rest stop, it's like every 5 minutes, ka-chink, £80, ka-chink, £160, ka-chink, £240, ka-chink, £320. It's and there's a speeding fine. Speaking of fines, I wonder what the speed limit is around here. I don't know what the speed limit is. And now we're back to National. So the cars should be catching up with us, or overtaking us again. See, we are starting to make a few minutes up. So there's a chance that I might be able to get... It depends on how quickly I park. But there is a chance I might be able to get to a rest stop after the depot if I can park in one. The trouble is, the added pressure usually causes my parking to become dire. But we'll see. We certainly won't give up. We'll give it a go. So we've got 5 hours left of driving to do, and 5 1/4. Oh, we got some money. Ludovic, our lowest rank driver, our newest driver, £1,400. He's into the 000s, which is very good. Curses, you rest stop. Curses. So obviously we can't stop again because we have got 8 hours left to do the delivery. Rest stop is 11 hours. That would put us 3 hours over our delivery time. So at this point, it doesn't matter what happens, we have to deliver, or we get a late delivery, and we don't want a late on our. We're already not going to get excellent. We're already looking at probably satisfactory given the amount of damage we've done to the load. So we need to be careful. And I think I'm speeding again because I'm catching up cars, and that's not normal. So I'm going to duck onto the hard shoulder, which is naughty. But I am determined to build myself some extra leeway for my parking, so that I can get to that rest stop with either no fine or as few fines as is possible. Okay, so we've got another hard shoulder run, and will we make it through? Will we make it through? Yes, we will. Don't want to crash into the guy. Alright, we are taking a left, so we need to be in this. Sorry, right. Left, right. Get to your lefts and rights, right, Mr. Movie Scouts. Yes. So I while I agree wholeheartedly that a team shouldn't be allowed to just hold a player to ransom and let him rot with no contract, I think the resulting legislation. Oops, sorry, I shifted my camera a little bit. Oops. Oh no, too far. Wait. Right, that's better. So I needed to scratch my nose. I shifted my camera in the process. I will be. I would have bounced off that. The damage done to the lorry would have been atrocious, and there would have been more damage to the load. So yes, well, I think it's unfair of a team to cling on to a player's registration and not allow him to sign with another team, and therefore lose match fitness, lose people's awareness of him because he's not playing, and so people assume he's retired or he's injured or something. I also think that the legislation they created doesn't help. I think the ruling should have been that you cannot. If you the ruling should have been if you're not prepared to sign a player, then you have to let him go. Because I think the current legislation is just it doesn't kind of make sense to me. You contracted to a team, the player's contracted to a team. His reputation is earned at that team. The team have taken a risk by taking him on, and they shouldn't be penalised when a player decides that he wants, a very mercenary player wants to make some money, because the 20 grand a week he's earning isn't enough for him. Oops. So I needed a cup of tea because I'm chatting and my throat gets quite raw when I'm talking all this time, and I need a bit of lubrication. I need a little bit of tea. A cup of tea solves everything. All the world's problems, metaphorically, could be solved with a cup of tea. Alright, we're getting closer to our destination, and 3:40. So we're now about 40 minutes. We've got about 40 minutes of leeway, which is good. But we're running out of time to build extra leeway. We could have done without that crash. That probably cost us about 10 minutes. We might have had maybe an hour's worth of leeway by now if we hadn't had that crash. Because it's not just the time you're stationary; it's the time you lose speeding up and slowing down. So the January transfer window, combined with the Bosman ruling, has made player acquisition an absolute minefield. And it's knowing the game of chicken that you play with other teams when it comes to the purchasing and releasing of players. It's horrifying. Sometimes it's just a player that you crap. Nearly missed my exit because I was so intent on overtaking. Oh, and I've moved the computer. My apologies. The game of chicken, you have to play with another team and the player that you're purchasing and the players that you're selling. It's a bit of a nightmare. I've got to be honest, I would like to identify the players I want and then just let someone else do the haggling. That would, if I was a manager, that would be my preferred process. I would say, these are the players I need, get me these players, and let someone else go and do it. For a number of reasons. One, I never want to be involved with another person's money, if I can absolutely help it. I've been in retail, and it's an absolute minefield, and I hated every minute. I didn't just hate dealing with the money in retail. I hated dealing with the general public, because individually, one-on-one people are lovely, but when they are a customer, they're absolute assholes. They become self-entitled children. Why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? Why is this? Why is that? Because my bosses say so is why. Back off, monkey boy. Which I have real problems dealing with people when it comes to retail. I cannot wrap my head around why people are so unutterably selfish and horrible to people in retail. The person behind the counter is not responsible for your crap day. Don't take it out on them. But yes, so not having to deal with the club's finances also removes you from the risks of being tainted in the same way that the likes of Sam Allardyce and Harry Redknapp have been tainted by bungs and financial corruption. I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with that, because it's a road to unhappiness. It's a road to purgatory. And I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. I just want to identify the players I wanted and let, say for instance, a director of football or the chairman or the managing director, whoever, I want them to deal with it. I think that's what Brendan Rodgers has done. You need to have some trust in the person that's going to be acting on your behalf, that they're able to negotiate effectively, i.e. that they're not going to give too much of the money, the pot of money that you have for players away, but they're also not going to negotiate so hard that the other side is going to walk away feeling abused. It's a fine balancing act, which I don't think I have the skills for. Not that I have the skills for managing a football team, as has been evidenced on my numerous attempts with Football Manager and Championship Manager when it was called Championship Manager. I think only 2 careers have I ever done extraordinarily well, but that was because I managed to get lucky and get a ton of money and get a couple of players. It's complete luck. My tactics, I'm possibly too lazy for that game, because you have to alter your tactics for every team you're playing, and so you have to study them. I think I'm just possibly too lazy for that game. I love it though. I can't stop playing it. I can't play it at the moment because I don't have a computer that's good enough to run it. Because bizarrely enough, a football management sim is quite graphically intensive. I mean, in fairness, it does have a 3D match engine, so you're watching the football happen, which is a lot more satisfying and makes a lot more sense than the text-based version of the game, which was its origins, its birth. But yeah, no, I love that game. Absolutely love it. But I can't play it. I don't know. I no longer have a computer. I mean, this laptop is lovely, but it just won't run Football Manager. It won't do it. And I won't. Yes, Football Manager will be another one of the games that I stream. But I will be. Probably people will be viewing that to watch how not to play Football Manager, rather than how to play Football Manager. That's yeah. My stratagem is to entertain people by being awful, which comes naturally at that particular game. I will, of course, obviously only play as Liverpool Football Club because reasons. Actually, that's not necessarily true. I might have a separate stream for AFC Wimbledon. If you're not aware, if you don't know or are not aware of a young adult author called John Green, and you're open to reading, and you're not too bothered by the tag young adults, his books are actually genuinely entertaining and great fun. But the reason I follow him is because he has a YouTube blog with his brother Hank Green. But the two of them once a week send each other a message. I think John sends one on Friday and Hank sends one on Tuesday, and they kind of have a little conversation and involve you in it. And they've been doing it since January the 1st, 2007. And it's very entertaining. I quite enjoy it. We've got to turn off here, so let's do that. I'm scratching my nose, and I think I might have moved the camera, but I'm on a corner and I daren't take my eyes off the screen, because if I do, I will be wearing the crash barrier. Yeah, I shifted it slightly, but not enough to. There we go. Yeah, we're back. Okay, we're 14 minutes away, and we've got an hour and 20. We have made up some significant time, and I think primarily we've done that by riding the hard shoulders. So at some point imminently we should discover Debrecen, and then we've got a left turn. Ooh, £132. Yeah, I know you're tired, buddy. I am too. That is the most monumentally annoying noise, but the fact remains, speeding. Of course I'm speeding. I've got time to make up your numpty. Why do you think I'm speeding? Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Debrecen discovered. Oh, all the momentum's gone. Ugh. I'm desperate for a sip of tea, but until that light goes red, I can't risk it. And there it is, it's gone red. Right, parking brake on. Yes, I think the January transfer window and the summer transfer window are bad for football. They're bad for football clubs. They can create an environment where a mediocre team with a good player can hold another team hostage, which raises the value of that player, which in turn raises the value of every other player, because every mediocre player that earns 2 million, every mediocre player that earns a lot, that earns the team selling him a large amount of money, pushes the value of every other player around him up, which is terrible for football. That's why we're in the situation where Gareth Bale went to Real Madrid for a truly obscene amount of money. I'm not saying that Gareth Bale's not a good player, but I don't think he's worth 90 to 120 million pounds. I think that's an appalling tag to put on it's an appalling amount of pressure to put on a player. It's an appalling amount of money to spend on an individual player out of a team's budget. And it pushes other teams into thinking that's the kind of money you have to spend to be successful, which is an absolute, complete bloody nonsense. Oh, crap. Right, I am going to do something unusual. Let's see if this works. We gently ease the truck around. Yeah, and hope that we can get it in. Oh no, we have. No. No. Okay, you will hear me say that a lot if you watch these videos. And every time I do that, I'm doing more and more damage to the... now I don't know... Where am I? Oh, God. I can't see what... But I'm hung up on the... I'm hitting something on the front of... and we've gone up to 7% damage. Alright. I cannot be arsed with that any longer. So we're going to approach from a different angle. I can't see that. I can't reverse if I can't see where my load is. Okay, I tell you what. See, this is the as I keep saying, this is the biggest problem with this game when it comes to driving with the keyboard is you cannot. Oh no, I need to go a bit further. You cannot steer as quickly as you can. You can't steer with the keyboard as quickly as you can steer with the steering wheel. So this was definitely not in M1. There's no point in pretending that this was anything but appalling. and not up to the standard of my previous 2 parking attempts, although... No. It was all going so well. I just hit the accelerator when I meant to go in reverse. There we go. Alright. Brake on. Lights off. Engine off. Oh, I'm all sweaty with that. That's not good. Right, let's see here what we did. Oh, satisfactory. That's not what we wanted. Right, driven distance, 1,275 kilometres, time taken 26 hours and 14 minutes, fuel consumed 507.6 litres, base reward £21,798, 1,275 XP, proficiency bonus for level 21, £6,866, long distance delivery bonus for skill rank 3, £3,198 and 318 XP, fragile cargo bonus for skill rank 3, £3,198 and 280 XP, urgent delivery bonus for skill rank 3, £3,198 and 382 XP. Bonus for parking the trailer, 45 XP. Then the damage penalty, 7% damage done to the truck, which cost us £815, and it cost us minus 84 XP. So we've only slightly mitigated the disaster with the parking. That gives us a total of £37,441 and 2,216 XP. It gives us a huge chunk of our level 21 master level. It puts us on a profile career total of 49,997 XP. We are still aiming at 52,400 XP to get to level 22. But that was in keeping with my recent performances in that it was, I guess, mediocre. So if you have watched this, crikey, I hope it was entertaining. I hope me going grim and silent wasn't too depressing to listen to. And thank you once again if you've watched this, especially if you've watched it all the way through. So, until I see you in the next video, I'll see you on the road.